support wetlands for Iowa. Call 515-288-1846. This is your TV station, 5TV.
The best thing I did to get ready for retirement was to add to my Medicare with extra coverage. I got a book about Medigap from Medicare. I'm really covered.
For more information about supplementing Medicare, write Medigap, care of Medicare, Baltimore, Maryland, 21207.
First we have the Blues, with all their pride, power, prestige, and wealth. Below them, we have the Greens. And finally, we have the Oranges, or the Rangs. This is the low class.
It was inspired by this television movie. 5 days ago, students sat down in high school teacher Michael Cooley's world culture class in Springfield, Virginia, for a lesson they are unlikely to forget. Within minutes, some of them would become second-class citizens.
It's not my fault that anyone is born in a ghetto.
And it's not my fault you drew an orange.
Good evening. I'm Ted Koppel, and this is Nightline. How do you teach young people what inequality and injustice are all about? Tonight we'll show you how one teacher brought the lesson home to his students. We'll talk to him and some of them.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
We're in one of our ABC newsrooms, and in a moment we're going to meet high school teacher Michael Cooley and a few of his students. The experiment you're about to see is not new. It's been conducted in one form or another in classrooms around America for years. But not too long ago, the idea was translated into a movie that was shown on CBS. And a high school teacher in Virginia saw that movie and was inspired to try the experiment on one of his classes. We heard about it because one of our producers has a daughter in that class. The objective? To demonstrate the nature of prejudice. In the movie, The War Between the Classes, students draw straws to determine their place in society and wear different colored armbands to denote who they are. In short order, the students who considered themselves without prejudice begin acting, talking, and fighting like bigots.
We're going to call this experiment the color game. First we have the Blues, with all their pride, power, prestige, and wealth. Now they like society just the way it is, and they want to keep it that way. Below them, we have the Greens. This is the middle class, the workaday, average, law-abiding citizens. And finally, we have the Oranges, or the Rangs. This is the low class.
So what do we have to do?
For the next month, each one of you is going to be either a blue, a green, or an orange.
I picked blue.
Now, our new society adheres to some very strict social customs and rules. You will be required to behave like a member of your social class, and you will be treated accordingly at all times. Now, armbands are to be worn at all times. Failure to do so will be penalized with demerits. Pick it up, Orange.
My man, she wants me to empty her tray. I haven't even finished eating it.
My man, you failed to obey. That's not permitted. 10 demerits.
Adam Tarcher, Orange. This orange is accused of secretly initiating a meeting with the blue. Class interaction is not permitted.
Later he was found using a water fountain clearly marked blues only.
I was thirsty.
Silence, Green. 3 demerits for unlawful use of a water fountain.
I hope someone cleaned it.
You're both suspended for 1 game.
You're crazy.
No, I'm not crazy. I'm just good and mad. Orange is beautiful! You trashed my car, man, and you gonna pay.
You got proof, Carl? Come on.
Come on, let's see it. Hey, Jonathan.
I expected complaints. Oh, and did you expect violence and vandalism?
When you change people's value systems, John, things are bound to happen. Look, take a look. These 2 whites, a black, and an Hispanic. They have one thing in common, John. Orange armbands.
What do you think you're doing?
We're protesting the rules discriminating against greens and oranges.
Oh, yeah? Say it, Sue.
This is a peaceful demonstration, Paul.
It's time this game ended.
We're here to demand our rights.
And what if we don't want the game to end?
Then plant yourself.
Everybody stop!
For I have been to the mountaintop, and I have seen the promised land. Now is the time to make real the promise of democracy. Now is the time.
So that's the idea. Just last week, Virginia high school teacher Michael Cooley tried it out in his classroom. When we come back, we'll meet him and some of his students.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Dow.
You're on your way.
Kids and science can really get together in the right kind of place. So Dow has developed and funded the Touch Tech Laboratory here at Impression 5 in Lansing, Michigan.
In this particular experiment, we're going to make a solid out of two liquids.
It's a hands-on museum that puts the wonders of science at a child's fingertips.
Here you go, PJ.
And who knows what that could lead to.
Dow lets you do great things.
If you're looking for a simple way to apply for the American Express card, simply pick up one of these, because now you can apply over the phone. Just call 1-800-THE-CARD.
Here's the smorgasburger. First we chop the cheese and chicken. Next we grind the beef and liver. Then we mix it all together. Now you got the smorgasburger.
Smorgasburger from Kettle Ration. It's like a smorgasbord in a bowl.
Enter a world of excitement, where fantasy comes to life, where the stakes are high, secrets lie for your entertainment tonight. Enter a world of excitement, enter the world of entertainment tonight.
Weeknights at 11, following MASH on 5 TV.
Every night at 10 on 5 TV's Iowa News Tonight, we give you Central Iowa's freshest look at the news. We take you live to the scene of breaking stories as they happen. Add to that our exclusive Segment 5 reports and an award-winning news team. And it's easy to see why 5 TV is the best choice at 10. We're bringing you news you can't get anywhere else.
5 TV, we're bringing you your news.
For quadriplegics, the smallest task can be impossible. Now monkeys are doing for them what guide dogs have done for the blind. Tomorrow on Wood News Center.
Joining us now here in our Washington Bureau is Michael Cooley, a teacher of U.S. history and world culture at Robert E. Lee High School in Springfield, Virginia, and 6 of his freshman students, Patricia Babb, Keith Eck, Andre Robinson, Tina Fox, Scott Cook, and Deirdre Kline. Mr. Cooley, the experiment you tried was considerably simpler than the one that we just saw in that movie, and I guess to everyone's benefit, a lot shorter, too. Just tell us quickly what you did and how you conducted the experiment.
Well, the experiment was very similar to the one that you saw on the monitor. Basically what I did was put strips of red paper and strips of blue paper in a box, and I handed those out to the class. Did not tell the class in advance what the activity was or what we were trying to get at in the activity. Each student then drew, totally at random, a colored badge, so to speak, and they pinned it on their lapel or on their shirt. And then at the end of that time, I told them all of those that are red will sit in the back of the room, all of those that are wearing the blue will sit in the front. My major purpose behind this was that I wanted to teach the class discrimination and what it feels like to be discriminated against.
All right, Patricia, some of the things you were what? You were a blue or a red?
Yes, I was a red.
You were a red, so you were one of the...
Discriminated, yes.
Discriminated against. When did you figure out that this wasn't just some kind of a joke? This wasn't some kind of a gag?
It really did show me how severe prejudice is out there. I didn't know.
Well, you didn't know that right away. I mean, 5 minutes into the class, you didn't know. What first taught you?
I think because we got put in the back of the room, and the Blues got a lot of the advantages. We got to walk down the hall and go to another room, and we had to sit outside while all the Blues got the candy and all the gum and stuff, and we didn't get anything. We were just kind of left out of it all. And one of the students asked to go to the water fountain, and when they went out there, it said no Reds allowed, so they couldn't get anything to drink.
Now, Keith, you started off as one of the privileged class, right? As one of the Blues.
Yeah.
And then you got demoted.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, we were told at the beginning if we talked to any Blues or rather Reds, if we talked to any Reds and had anything to do with them, that we would lose all our privileges as a privileged person and become discriminated against. And I did, and one of the Reds talked to me, and I went over and talked to him, and then from then on I was considered the lower class and was discriminated against with the rest of them.
Andre, what did you think was going on? I mean, when, first 5-10 minutes of the class, I mean, to be a young black man in America, you don't need a whole lot of experience of what prejudice is about, but here you were briefly on the other side. You were one of the Blues, right? One of the privileged class.
Yeah, I was one of the Blues. It didn't feel too well, because I was thinking, some of these Reds are my friends, and would I really be friends with them if this was real? And one of my friends, I remember, his name is Chad, he went to get a drink of water, and he looked over the water fountain, just like Trish said, and it said, Blues only. And I was thinking, if they were subjected to this just for one day and they felt like this, how they would feel if they had to live with this.
Did any of this ring true to you? I mean, we've been talking about this experiment, as I'm sure all of you have. We've been talking here in the office about it. And some folks here were saying, yeah, but it's all kind of limited. I mean, first of all, it didn't last very long, right? What did it last, about a day and a half?
It lasted for the period. Just
for the period. But then some of you, Tina, some of you had homework, some of you didn't, right?
Yeah, we had the underprivileged class, which was me. We had homework, 2 homework assignments, and the other group, they didn't have to do it. They just got automatic A's. Well, we had to work, and whatever we did, that's the grade that we got.
Did you think of this, Deirdre, as a game, or did, even after 10 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour, did you feel any real resentment?
Well, first it started out, it was kind of funny, he asked if you really wanted to do the homework, and we all said no, and so he took it back, and that was kind of funny. We started talking, and then it started, like, they couldn't go to the water fountain or anything, and they were really being discriminated against, and it felt awful. You didn't want to be part of this game anymore. It wasn't fun, or you didn't like to do it. You just wanted it to stop.
All right, I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, and Scott, I haven't talked to you yet at all, what I want to raise with you can think about it for a moment, is what, if anything, you learned from all of this. We'll continue our discussion in just a moment.
That'll do it. Who wants grapefruit juice?
I'll pass.
It's good for you. It's great for dieting.
I know, but...
Lots of vitamin C?
Yeah, but...
But the taste? Here, try this. Ocean Spray Pink Grapefruit Juice Cocktail. It's tangy, smoother, sweeter.
This is grapefruit juice?
Uh-huh.
It's not bitter.
It's Ocean Spray Pink Grapefruit Juice Cocktail. And it's not just good for you, it's good. Ocean Spray good.
Besides getting the latest on news, weather, and sports, there's another good reason to watch 5TV's Iowa News Tonight at 10. Each weeknight, we present a special report called Segment 5. These are exclusive, people-oriented stories dealing with consumer news, interesting folks in central Iowa, young people involved in the Big Brother, Big Sister program, health updates, and reports on local businesses and activities in our state. It's news of interest to central Iowans, news of interest to you. Win one of the 100 cash awards for your community improvement project this year. How? By joining the Iowa Community Betterment Program. Volunteers who plan to carry out a small project or start a long-term project should enter. Your city officials don't have to enter your community. You can. Youth, working people, homemakers, senior citizens, and farm families all pulling together is what can make your community a winner. For information or help in getting started, contact Community Betterment, Governor's Office, Des Moines, 50319, or call 515-281-3803.
There are over 200 challenging and rewarding careers in agriculture.
200 challenging and rewarding careers. Think about it.
A message from the FFA.
Wake up one step ahead in the business world with first news from financial capitals in New York, London, and across Europe. Tomorrow on ABC's World News This Morning before Good Morning America.
I'm Joan London.
And I'm Charles Gibson. Tomorrow, Juan Ponce in Relay. He helped overthrow Marcos. Is Mrs. Aquino next?
Plus Vanessa Williams tomorrow on Good Morning America.
Continuing our conversation now with teacher Michael Cooley and 6 of his students. Scott, you're the only one I haven't asked yet. I don't want to ask you so much about what you thought at the time as I do what you think now. I mean, the whole purpose of this was to teach you something. What did it teach you?
Well, when we started out like the day before, everybody's equal, and then, you know, you come to class and he says, well, the reds go to the back of the room, blues go to the front, and you look at each other and you say, he's no different than me, so why should I get more privileges than he should? So, you know, like when you go out to the water fountain and you can drink and he can't, you really feel really sorry for why this guy is getting the, you know, extra privileges.
Well, let me stop you just a second. I mean, you were one of the privileged kids, right? You were one of the blues. Why do you think you learned that in a 45-minute experiment when it's been all around you all your life?
Well, I haven't really been exposed to it. You know, I have some, but nothing like this was really, you know, they all have to go to the back and you have to go to the front. You know, and you don't have to go. You can do whatever you want. And it's kind of sad, actually.
Keith, had you ever thought about discrimination before or bigotry before?
I think this
Made a bigger impact on me knowing that I knew these people as they were before they split us up into blues and reds. And then seeing some of my friends being put into the lower and me being higher than them, you know, at first it seemed like a game, you know, but then after about 20 minutes or so, it started to really sink in as to what was happening. And things like if they read an answer, say a lower class read an answer, and then the upper class didn't like it, then that answer was considered no good. And they had to go up and had some sort of punishment. They had to erase the board or put their nose on the board or something.
Andre, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of strange, isn't it? I mean, it takes 45 minutes, a little experiment like this, nice movie on television, all of a sudden everybody begins to learn what you've probably known all your life. Was there anything you learned that you hadn't known before?
Not really, except for this time I was on the other side of it. I was blue, which is the privileged class.
But you said you felt uncomfortable in that role.
I did, because not so much that I was uncomfortable being the privileged kid as much as you know the people that are underprivileged in the class, the reds. And I don't know, it made me think about how it would have been if I hadn't known these people and I just come up and I've been told all this time by my parents, by my teachers, and by elders that these people are lower class. Don't talk to them. They don't drink out of the water fountains, and they don't eat at the restaurants and things like that.
Tina, what do you think? Why is it that, and obviously you've all learned, it seems, extraordinary lessons from a very short brush with prejudice, but why do you think, well, let me ask you, what did you learn, and why do you think you learned it?
Well, before, I really didn't see how other people were treated unfairly and everything, and then when I got in class, and since I was the underprivileged, I felt really like I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do, I had to ask for permission.
What did you feel? Frustration, anger, indignation?
Well, anger and kind of embarrassed because everybody was treating me like I was nothing. and everybody else was like they were on top of the world.
But hey, you knew this thing wasn't going to last forever, right? I mean, can't you just brush it off? It's a joke. It's a game, right?
Well, it would have been better if you would have just experienced it, then you would have known. But if you just brushed it off, then you wouldn't have really experienced anything in the class that happened that day.
Deirdre, lasting lessons? You think this thing is going to last, or by next week you'll have forgotten all about it?
I think it'll last, because it's one thing to read about it, but it's another thing, and hear it from people, but it's another thing to, like, live it. And it's like so unfair, just because of what somebody picks out of a box, what color their tag is, to be discriminated against.
But that's the way it is, isn't it? I mean, it's luck of the draw in a sense. I mean, that's the way our society is. Luck of the draw. You're born rich, you're born poor, you're born tall, you're born short, you're born black, you're born Hispanic, you're born white. Luck of the draw. Right?
Yeah. But it's not fair to be discriminated against. It should be what their personality is like and how they are, not what they look like or, like how they live or how much money they have.
Patricia, what's new? What's different? What's going on in your head now on this subject that wasn't there 7 days ago?
Well, I didn't really realize how bad it was out there. I mean, as all of them they have said, I've read about it and heard about it from my parents and, just from everybody. People talk about it a lot, how bad it is. But I didn't really realize how bad it was until I experienced it myself, to be discriminated against for something I didn't have any say about. I mean, it was just like drawing something out of the box, and I got discriminated against for it, and it wasn't fair.
Mr. Cooley, grade yourself, grade your project. You satisfied?
Yes, I'm very satisfied because basically the two goals that I wanted to achieve, I was able to achieve. Number one, I wanted them to experience discrimination and prejudice. And number two, I wanted them to understand that the only reason they were discriminated against was because of the color of their badge, and that was totally by luck of the draw.
If you had to do it again, would you make it for a day or 2 days or even a week? I mean, if you had that kind of control? Because I wonder how much can be learned in an hour, although clearly quite a lot has been learned.
Yeah, I would like to expand it. In fact, I'm planning to do that next year. It was sort of an experiment with me this year, and I'd like to expand it, and I'm going to take into account other teachers in the social studies department as well who want to get in on it too.
Mr. Cooley, I admire what you've done, and I thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
you. Kids, you're terrific. Thank you
very much.
If you have any doubts that America still has a way to go before we can talk about equality for all, Nightline correspondent Jed DeVal should dispel those doubts in just a moment.
The top quality cars and trucks on the road today.
For my money, all the quality claims from here to Tokyo and back again can't stand up to 6 simple words. 5 years or 50,000 miles. That's the warranty you get when you buy any car or truck built by Chrysler. With some other car makers, after 2 or 3 years, it's so long, auf Wiedersehen or sayonara. Which makes you wonder, how much confidence do those guys really have in the quality they're talking about? At Chrysler, we've backed over 5 million engines, over 5 million powertrains, over 5 million car and truck bodies with 550 protection. If they fail or fall apart, we fall on our faces. But something is holding us up. Quality. So the next time you hear somebody talking quality, take a look at his warranty, then take a look at ours. To me, it's simple. If you're looking for who builds them best, take a look at who backs them best.
Would you like to have something?
A good news program tells you what's happening in the world around you and helps you use that information to improve your own life. It might offer reports on what's new in health and medicine, or consumer information that helps you stretch your buying power, or stories dealing with the people, places, and events that enrich your community. That's what Segment 5 is all about. News designed to keep you informed and in touch with your world.
Transplant. My daughter had a related organ donor, me.
Your will is my will.
What do you got, Steph? It's a penetrating wound to the abdomen. He ran away from you, lady.
He said you were dead.
You go at it like this, you'll just tear him apart. We must not delay this marriage a moment too long. Marriage? Yeah, well, he's the bad guy, all right. You gave him an identity and a home.
And I didn't?
I don't know. Did you?
Trapper John, weekday afternoons at 3 on 5 TV.
But it is also worth noting, as Nightline correspondent Jed Duval does now, that for a lot of youngsters, the experiment is far from over.
Let's call him David and say that he is black. The fact of his color worked against David even before he was born. His mother was twice as likely as a white mother to have received poor prenatal care. Although odds are that David will grow and thrive during his first year, the numbers show that he is twice as likely as a white child to be killed by disease. David will probably live with only his mother. Half the black children in America live with just their mothers. Only one white child in 6 lives in a home without a father. David's family has 1 chance in 3 of living below the poverty line. Only 13% of all black households have incomes above $25,000. As David begins school, chances are that most, if not all, of his classmates will also be black. In the last 25 years, desegregation has proceeded, yet today, 6 of 10 black children attend predominantly black schools. David will stay in school longer than prior generations of black children. Between 1971 and 81, the high school dropout rate declined from 26 to 18%. But the academic performance of blacks does not match that of whites. The combined verbal and math averages of blacks on the SATs is 722, whites 940. While David is in high school, 1 in 4 of his female classmates will have a baby. Among black teen births, nearly 9 of 10 are out of wedlock, babies giving birth to babies. David and his friends in their late teens have an unemployment rate close to 3 times that of their white counterparts. Another statistic facing David is literally murderous. Between the ages of 15 and 24, David is roughly 5 times as likely to be murdered as a white male the same age. Should this happen, the odds are overwhelming that David's killer would be a young black male. Let's say David steers clear of all hurdles so far and joins the growing numbers of blacks being graduated from high school. Yes, that number is up, but the fraction going on to further study is dropping. From 1977 to 83, as the amount of student aid dropped, so did blacks going to college, from 50 to 39%. For whites, the figures increased from 51 to 55%. If David is graduated from college, he becomes one of the 10% of blacks over 25 who have a degree. 20% of whites, 25 and older, have been through college. Okay, he has a degree. Now he has to get a job. Over the past 5 years, black unemployment has averaged 17%, white 7.3%. But that's everybody, all ages, both populations. David, with a degree, can see a much brighter picture. This one. Over 2 decades, the 60s and the 70s, the numbers of black physicians and surgeons rose by 168%. The numbers of teachers by 170%. College professors, 299%. Lawyers and judges by 508%. And the numbers of black professionals and managers rose by nearly 1,400% in that time. The other side of that picture, 17% of blacks hold professional and managerial jobs, while 31% of whites are in that category. If David and his family live in the suburbs, they are the 1 black household in 5 that does. 42% of whites are suburbanites. Home ownership, 44% of blacks own. 67% of whites do. At age 45, David has cleared many statistical hurdles, and there are others. Heart disease, pneumonia, diabetes, liver ailments, strokes, and cancer all kill blacks at rates significantly higher than whites. At that age of 45, David's life expectancy is 70, 25 more years to live. A white the same age has, statistically, 5 more years to age 75. Our imaginary David is born today into a world very different from the one Martin Luther King Jr. knew as a child. The world that saw Jesse Owens show what blacks could do running in the Olympics. A generation later, Jesse Jackson ran too, to show what blacks have done. In the years in between, the ways whites and blacks see each other have changed. perhaps more important, there's been a big change in the way blacks see themselves. Jed Duval for Nightline.
And that's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
This has been Nightline. If you wish a printed transcript of this or any Nightline broadcast, please send $3 to Nightline Transcripts, 2 John Street, New York, New York, 10038. Nightline is a presentation of ABC News. Tuesday, it's a tribute to Tony.
You help Mom, you take care of me. You're beautiful, babe.
Who's the boss? Then,
23 women, 13 guys, and 1 nearsighted chaperone.
take a hot ski trip. This is your TV station, 5